C. Dot. I know Narendra Nath ji said in 30 seconds, I think he'll join. Our next is Mr. G. Narendra Nath ji. Yeah, he's here. Joint Secretary, National Security Council Secretariat. Please, sir. First of all, I request all the delegates to please give them a round of applause. With that, we have more participants. We kept this conference in a hybrid mode while we did not want to do it like this, but I think after COVID, online has become a norm. You know, you can put physical on top of it, but you cannot rule out completely the online. And plus the time difference issue. You know, we have a time difference issue, so again, we have few more participants, but they could not or they would not be able to attend virtually, but they have shared video messages. So we have a video message from Mr. Oliver Perret, who is a Director General of AFNOR. AFNOR is a Standard Development Organization of France. He's also a SEN Vice President. We also have a video recorded message of Mr. Luis Jorge Romero Saro, who is the Director General of ITSE. We also have a recorded message from Mr. Henry Gadach, who is the Secretary General of European Free Trade Association Agreement, IFTA, who is also a partner for this project CSA, and Mr. N. Mohan Ram, who is a DG TSDSI. He could not attend physically because he had to travel for business reasons. He's in US. But we do have a recorded presentation from him. With that, let's begin with this important session, which we named it, as I said, DG and Industry Panels. One of the many important actors or players, I mean, we heard this morning that when we talk about standard making exercise, it's not somebody comes from top or somebody comes from policy organization or somebody comes from standard development organization, come and develop a standard which should be implemented. No, there are stakeholders who work together to develop standards or even policies. When policies are formed, it's consulted with the industry. So industry plays a very big role, including academia. So we thought like, let's have a panel of standards makers between DG and the industry, which also include associations as well. And that's how we formulated this particular session. So let's begin with this session. We have first video recorded from Mr. Oliver Perret. His bio, please, his bio on the screen. Mr. Oliver Perret is a former École Polytechnique student, head engineers of the body of mining engineers. He was appointed Director General of AFNOR in June 2003. Currently, he is also the administrator of SEN at European level and at ISO international level as well. Since January 2022, he is the VP, Vice President Policy of SEN. He has been appointed in January 2013, Vice President Finance of ISO committee as well, and he continued for 4 years. He belongs to the Board of Directors and Treasurer Groupe des Industries, GIM France. He has chaired several standardization commissions or groups at national, European, and international level, ISO Confirmatory Assessment Committee for 4 years from 2007 to 2011, and he holds the title of Chevalier of the Legion of Honor. So please, let's play a video recorded message from Mr. Perret.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear partners and dear guests, on behalf of SEN and SENELEC, it is my privilege to be with you today, and I would like to begin by thanking the CESE project partners, namely the EU, EFTA, ETSI, of course, for co-organizing this very important event and for the invitation to participate in this high-level panel. I would like also to thank the audience for attending this important occasion. I am quite honored to have the possibility to talk with you today and to give you this presentation. First of all, undoubtedly, rapid technological advancements are reshaping our world, and this necessitates a harmonized approach. As we ventured into the digital area, it's imperative for both Europe and India to work together to ensure that innovations in circular economy, in smart cities, connectivities, and data privacy and cybersecurity not only drive growth, but also preserve the integrity and well-being of our respective societies. Looking forward at all these opportunities, I strongly believe that standards do play a key role in this pursuit, thanks to the voluntary character and consensus base as well. Standardization will not only help to facilitate these transitions, but also become a keystone in bridging Europe and India. Let me address now the circular economy, namely e-waste and plastics. Within the circular economy framework, the challenge of e-waste and plastic is of paramount importance. And I think that is equally valid for Europe and India. As our reliance on technology grows, so has the use of plastics. And we know what it means in terms of ocean. And so it's crucial to address the life cycle. Standardizations, once again, plays a critical role in this by establishing consistent, shared, global standards for the sustainable management, the sorting out, the recycling, and repurposing of e-waste and plastics in order to ensure a more uniform approach with economies of scales. This not only protects our respective environments, but also promotes a truly circular economic model, because those resources which are scarce, which are not unlimited, are more valued, and certainly waste is minimized in such a way. We are committed, we are deeply committed in integrating circular economy in all aspects of European standards. This commitment is reflected in our strategy 2030, which guides our actions for the next decade. The strategy sets the green transition as one, not the only one, but one of the overarching priorities to be achieved with measurable actions. Since current focus in the plastic sectors and in terms of biodegradability and combustibility of plastics, there has been the publication of SEN technical report 17910, which has been published in 2022, and it is detailing the current state of the art, I would say, the standardization in biodegradable plastics. This document outlines existing standards and highlights areas in need for further standardization. And if I say standardization, it can mean cooperation, naturally. Notably, the EU has introduced a policy framework on bio-based, biodegradable and combustible plastics in November 2022, underscoring the need for robust standardization. To address environmental concerns of electrical and electronic products, the Senelec TC111X environment has developed a very important standard, namely the EN 50614, and this was done as early as 2020 to gauge reuse, recycling and recovery rates of such equipment. This aligns with Senelec's commitment to continually enhance environmental sustainability, boost energy and resource efficiency, and foster unified technical approaches across product committees. Close collaboration, and that's a given, but close collaboration with international standardizations, namely ISO and IEC, further extends SEN and Senelec environmental objectives. Now, let's touch the connectivity in smart cities, namely digital, energy and transport. Connectivity in smart cities, and this is valid for equally digital, energy and transportation system sectors, is quite pivotal in creating cohesive urban ecosystems. Because, well, it's a given, but a growing number of citizens are living in cities, and therefore let's make the best use of the economies of scales that can be brought through the cities, the very system of cities. So integrated systems, in that case, enhance efficiency, reduce resource consumptions, that once more economies of scales, and elevate the quality of life for inhabitants. Standardization in this area ensures interoperability, safety, and also, at the same time, the effective realization of sustainable urban development goals, because in every cities in the world, every mayor and so on is now concerned with these kind of challenges. And in this respect, SEN and Senelec have been, I think, I dare to say that have been in the forefront of enhancing connectivity in smart cities. For example, CEN TC 278 focuses on intelligent transportation systems, improving the efficiency and safety of transportation. And we are today in the ballpark of 200 published standards. Additionally, on the Senelec part, there is the TC 215, which plays a pivotal role in establishing standards for electrotechnical aspects of smart grids, energy-wise, ensuring seamless energy distribution and management. And so far, we have something like 50 published standards. Now, let's talk a bit about data privacy and cybersecurity. Well, I would say that now every newspaper is full of related information, but in an era where our digital footprints intertwines with our daily lives and our private lives, ensuring data privacy and bolstering cybersecurity becomes of paramount importance. Through standardization, we can deeply establish robust frameworks that both ensure personal and sensitive information remains protected, because there are a lot of predators, and also this helps to create a harmonized and trustworthy environment across platforms, devices, and services. And to provide you with some figures, on the one hand, CEN has 12 TCs developing standards related to data privacy and cybersecurity. And also there is one Senelec TC, namely JTC 13, together with CEN, which is focusing on cybersecurity and data protection. And together, CEN and Senelec have developed something like 800 standards in this field. So I think that it's quite huge and sizable. And also, it's important, by adapting when and if, only if necessary, the international standards to European needs, and also sometimes developing some kind of homegrown EN's standards in order to fill the existing gaps. All this being done in alignment, naturally, full alignment with EU regulations. In order to conclude, I would say that at this level, I would like to pay attention and to pay tribute to the importance of CEN and Senelec and BIS partnership. Because, well, the three challenges I've just alluded to are immense and are of really very big importance. It's clear that solo efforts are doomed to fail. If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you need to act as a group, and it is important in this respect that the grouping between the European place and the Indian place are as aligned as possible in order to achieve consistency and the economies of scales. Because we need global solutions, we need consensual solutions, and by working together at the level of ISO and IEC, I do believe that the European actors and the Indian actors can really make a difference in this respect, because we are quite well positioned on both sides to provide a valuable contribution. And moreover, our commitments extend also to enhancing collaborations with global partners such as the Bureau of Indian Standards. I think that if we can share those capabilities, once again at the ISO and IEC level, by sharing practices, experiences to better navigate fields which are sometimes moving, and we are absolutely poised to do that through the CEN and Senelec BIS Memorandum of Understanding, which was signed in 2022. It's important to pay attention and to stay committed to this implementation. So once again, as a conclusion, I'm very deeply privileged to partake in this discussion today. And there is a framework of very distinguished fellows. I'm really, once again, so sorry not being able to be with you today. But we are, I think, all committed, all unified in our shared pursuit for a sustainable, connected, and secure future, supported by a stakeholder-driven, consensus-based, once again, single standard model for global standardization. I should like to thank you for your time, and I hope to enjoy the upcoming sessions on these important topics, because I will make myself acquainted with the outcome of this discussion. Thank you very much, and have a nice and successful conference.
Thank you. Round of applause. This session and this conference is also live streamed through YouTube channel, and we do have virtual participation as well. So keep appreciating, even if you hear a video message. You know, they will hear it, they will check on it, they'll come back and see how this recorded video was played. With that, let's move on to our next recorded message from our DG, Director General ETSI, ITSI, Mr. Luis Jorge Romero. Soro, please display the biodata on the screen. Mr. Romero has 30 years of experience in the telecommunications sector. At ITSI, he has initiated a global standardization partnership for IoT communications, 1M2M. He has overseen the rapid development of ITSI's Industry Specification Group, which was an ISG, accelerating the market penetration of new technologies and enabled the first open source group in ITSI, leading to the new software development group, which was initiated in 2022. Luis Jorge also has successfully positioned the institute, ITSI Institute, to take a leading role in 5G standardization while participating in a global platform like 3GPP through initiatives such as ITSI's multi-access edge computing, became a 5G candidate, network function virtualization, reconfigurable intelligence surfaces, groups, etc. He is driving the implementation of ITSI strategy, its ambitious plan to prepare the institute for the future. Let's play the video from Mr. Luis.
Hello everybody, it is my very pleasure to welcome you to this 14th EU conference on standards and emerging technologies. Thank you very much to all speakers and delegates that are here in our conference. And actually my apologies, because I would have liked very much to be back in Delhi in person so that I could meet friends again, but I couldn't make it this time. I'm sure there will be another great opportunity. Again, thanks a lot for giving me this nice opportunity to at least say these few words to you. We have witnessed at each iteration of this conference very tangible results of the collaboration between India and Europe on standards issues. And I think this we need to keep promoting. So the EU-India collaboration of standards and technologies that will be discussed today is in fact growingly important. It gives substance to the various policy initiatives and dialogues which have been initiated or have been relaunched between India and Europe. And I could put some examples. So we have the free trade agreement negotiations, the EU-India strategic partnership that dates from 2020 but keeps going, and I think it's very important. The Trade Technology Council, which addresses technologies and domains which are very relevant to our cooperation on standards such as quantum or 5G, IoT, green and clean energy technologies, that's to name a few. And also the EU-India Connectivity Partnership that has been recently signed, where interoperability in all its shapes and forms will be crucial, and therefore common standards will be. This collaboration between EU and India has opened the way for very tangible inroads towards interoperability in a variety of domains, such as accessibility, the Internet of Things, e-signatures, energy consumption rating, or cybersecurity for consumer IoT devices. The adoption or implementation of a number of common global standards paved the way for seamless trade and increased collaboration on technology and standards development. I also want to underline here the excellent collaboration with TSDSI, also as common partners in 3GPP and 1M2M. This is permitting the 3GPP standards for 5G, 4G, 5G Advanced and whatever comes, and also 1M2M specifications for the IoT are being adopted as national standards by TEC. In ICT, India has obviously really become a standards maker on a par level with the other partners in our global projects. In today's event, we will hear about circular economy and e-waste, where I would like to highlight the work that is being carried out by ETSI's TC Environmental Engineering, which is addressing the environmental aspects for telecommunication infrastructures and equipment. I think this is one area where I believe standardization communities must unite even more, as we're talking about the world we prepare for our children and our children's children. We will also hear in the conference about smart cities. This is where 1M2M standards, as part of its service layer, play a key role. As I said before, 1M2M standards have been adopted as national standards in India through TEC. We hope that the Smart Cities mission, through its UIDX and its special purpose vehicle, will benefit from the adoption of 1M2M. And last but not least, we'll hear about data privacy and cybersecurity. We understand that the Data Privacy and Data Protection Bill has been passed by the Indian Parliament, and the ongoing implementation work is aligned with ETSI's GDPR. Many standards relevant to address the cyber threat are being dealt with by the ETSI's TC Cyber, which is very much focused on developing these cybersecurity standards. Before I close, I want to say a word about the CESAI project and the excellent work Mr. Dinesh Sharma and his team are doing to make this India-EU cooperation prosperous. The CESAI is building strong bridges between the EU and Indian standardization communities, both in the public and private sectors. And I want to use the opportunity of this conference to publicly express the support of ETSI and all the partners in this project. We would also express our gratitude for the tireless efforts the CESAI is putting to make the Indo-EU collaboration a tangible and sustainable reality. So with this, let's have an excellent conference. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Luis. Now we have one more recorded message before we come back to our stage for our dignitaries. Mr. Henry Getach, display the bio, please, on the screen. He's the Secretary General of European Free Trade Agreement Association, Secretary General. As a Secretary General, he coordinates the association activities and is responsible for the overall management of the organization resources. Prior to this, Mr. Getach has been Head of Directorate for European Affairs at Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, Head of Economic and Financial Division, Embassy of Switzerland in Washington, D.C. Let's play the video, please.
Dear participants, it is my honor to address this conference on behalf of EFTA. EFTA, the European Free Trade Association, is the intergovernmental organization of Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland, set up for the promotion of free trade and economic integration to the benefits of our members and our trading partners around the globe. In Europe, EFTA cooperates very closely with the European Union on trade matters, with 3 of the EFTA member states, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway, participating fully in the European single market through the European Economic Area Agreement, while Switzerland cooperates with the EU through bilateral agreements. Outside of Europe, EFTA has built up an extensive network of free trade agreements with 41 countries and territories, and is continuously seeking to extend this network further, including with India. For over 40 years, EFTA has promoted the use of common standards to eliminate technical barriers to trade and to facilitate trade in goods. The national standards bodies of the EFTA member states are full members in the European Standardization Organizations, CEN, CENELEC, and ETSI, as well as the International Standards Organization, ISO and IEC. EFTA itself contributes financially to the European standardization system, including to projects such as the SESEI, the Seconded European Standardization Expert in India, which is organizing this conference today. Standards are of high importance as tools to ensure interoperability between systems, to enhance product safety and security, and to protect consumers as well as the environment. The topics chosen for this conference: circular economy, connectivity in smart cities, and data privacy and cybersecurity. These topics fit well with the priorities of the CESEI project: digitization and green and clean technologies. There are examples of areas where the use of standards is essential to support policy initiatives in Europe and India, and are also fully in line with the EFTA's priorities when it comes to open trade in the at the global level. Looking back at the current year, India has been quite active on the free trade negotiating front, and EFTA has been a part of the storyline. Leaving the details of our free trade negotiations aside, I appreciate the frank discussions that have taken place, in particular at political level among ministers. I had the opportunity to be part of these discussions when I visited India in April this year and met with Minister Piyush Goyal. As EFTA and India are moving towards an economic partnership agreement, I have no doubt that advanced cooperation in standardization matters will unfold its full potential in the context of such enhanced trade relations between EFTA and India. The presentation and panel discussions that will take place today will provide a platform for experts from Europe and India to share their experience and knowledge on the conference topics, create opportunities for interaction, and identify potential areas where working together can be of benefit for both sides, and strengthen the collaboration between Europe and India at large. I wish everyone a great conference.
Thank you, Mr. Henry Getas. With that, an instruction at the sideline, which I agree, I need not to read the bios anymore. First of all, in the delegate kit bag, you have a short notebook, which you can also make notes. At the end of it, there are brief bios. And on top of it, on the website, if you click a link, there are speakers' pictures. If you click them, you can have a detailed information around them. With that, let's move on to this conference. Let's try to save more time. Let me also try myself to save more time. Let me invite our first speaker, Mr. Vipin Sahni, Executive Director, CII Institute of Quality, to deliver an address. Thank you. 5-7 minutes. I mean, try your best. We all have to eat lunch.
So, very good morning, everyone. I have a clear message from the boss. Thank you, Dinesh, for inviting us. Distinguished leaders on the dais, all the seniors for SEACI and CENELAC, ladies and gentlemen. Let me check out, it's still morning. Yeah, good afternoon to you, all of you. Privileged to be here at this event, which is focusing on the two key subjects, standards and emerging technologies. That's how I bracket it. And how India and EU should focus on strategic partnerships to contribute to the, if I may say so, human development within the framework of limited resources and sustainable options. Well, it's my privilege to present industry's perspectives and how CII IQ, I come from CII Institute of Quality, and in fact, all the, which is the first center of excellence on quality in India, and which is supporting the Indian industry through various initiatives. So all the good work that is done in the research, all the development of the standards, all the policy formulation, we kind of make it happen. We operate on the support the industry in application of the standards and the best practices. In fact, what I was just speaking with my panelist, and it just reminded me, if you remember, almost scenario of about, is it better? This one also? That's it. We remember the scenario almost 2 years back, remember? Not a very pleasant experience, but COVID time. So there have been a number of key takeaways, in fact, key learnings. And as we could see since morning, and the one is the technology. We've been able to share a lot of many things through use of technology. Two, we cannot remain untouched in isolation. It's an interconnected world. Three, most of the problems are collaborative problems, and the solution is also through collaborations. And technology can play a very vital role to meet many of the challenges, including the SDG challenges and all. And digital and sustainability will be the foundation of all, be it processes, technologies, economies, for reach, implementation, and social equality. We are in fact reaching a world wherein only self-driven automobiles, robot performing our day-to-day functions, use of only biodegradable plastics, no coal plants, and use of sustainable fuel. And that's where we are heading for, where digital and sustainability are going to be the deciding factors. Sustainable developments and digital technologies are transforming global commerce and trade rules to foster economic and social benefits. But trade barriers continue to impact free flow of goods across borders on digital and sustainability parameters. For example, the regulations like CBAM, EUDR would in fact be impacting the trade, and especially the Indian trade and the industry in future. So it's very essential, as Mr. Behel said in the morning, that we create collaborative, we make collaborative efforts to develop and implement standards which have uniform applications across the globe. And this is essential with regard to the industry, as it would be very difficult for industry to comply with, multiple requirements, multiple, trade barriers into it. I would skip some of the examples, but I'm sure, this is a very valid point which we need to consider in terms of globalization. As an industry body, let me just share with you what we have been doing. We've been supporting the Indian industry through various initiatives, and standards and quality infrastructure remain the foundation for many, many activities. We support the industry in domains of standards, metrology, conformity assessment, accreditation, total productive maintenance, business excellence. And if I were to share with you, even the quality models today have not remained isolated. They are integrating many of these requirements of digital infrastructure, sustainability, to build the quality infrastructure of the country. Many of the standards, many of the quality tools have incorporated these requirements into it. For example, TPM, or total product maintenance, which is an operational excellence model for the shop floor. It focuses on zero defect. Zero, in fact, is a key word in this technology. Zero defect, zero wastage, zero errors, zero accidents, zero breakdowns, zero pollution. Sounds familiar? Similarly, various business excellence models like EFQM, Baldrige model, Deming model, they are supporting organizations in managing change and improving performance and using digital technologies while meeting the sustainable or the SDG goals. So everything is interlinked. Nothing operates in isolation as on date. Any quality technology, any tools, anything that we do on the shop floor in some way or the other is making use of the good work that organizations like these are doing, many interactions that we are doing, developing various standards and things into it. So Institute of Quality is in its effort is making continuous efforts to upgrade the skills of the industry to ensure compliances to this not only national but also international requirements. For example, if I were to quote some particular instances, we are actively working with SESE and CENELAC to work on the theme and actions related around sustainable development goals with specific stress on digital and sustainability initiatives. We are collaborating with other global partners like GIZ for GPQI project, TIC Council, ASQ USA, European Organization for Quality. We are working with EFQM, Baldrige for business excellence by means of an MOU. We are working with Japan Institute of Plant Maintenance, Union of Japanese Scientists and Engineers in the area of total productivity management. CIIQ to play a key role and represents industry's perspective is a member of the Asia Pacific Accreditation Corporation to ensure that the standards as well as their application or the certification, what is happening across the industry, is in line with what the international benchmarks are. At a national level, we are working closely with BIS, accreditation boards, conformity assessment bodies like AOIL, BVCI, SGS, TUV, UL, to just name a few. In fact, the international division of CI is actively involved with Department of Commerce for discussions related to FTAs. So there's a lot that can be achieved with collaborative efforts with the industry bodies like CI, because we have a network of almost 70 offices across India, 10 international offices, and we are actively pursuing application of national and international requirements through partnerships. Just to sum up my, as to what we are looking at, we are aiming to foster India-EU alliances to support the industry in the following ways. That is, developing capacity and conducting sensitization events for the upcoming EU regulations. Very, very vital if we have to ensure that, the industry adopts and follows this, which could include EUDR, CBM, CS3D, and other regulatory reforms under the European Green Deal. Additionally, sensitization related to Cyber Resilience Act is a must, because I believe there are certain requirements which we need to, carefully look at and then create capacities so that, Indian exports also do not get, they get benefited out of it. This will support in setting up of harmonized implementation practices. Based on our experience, it's a good model. We have already implemented the model with PTB Germany in area of standards requirement with regard to solar PV testing. And we are also conducting a session on EU REACH on 21st December to sensitize industry on requirements with other partners. We are also conducting sensitization of European industry related to upcoming quality control orders as well as other regulations which impact import of goods. We are in the process, we are almost at the end stage of launching a national standards portal with relevant regulatory requirements, major trading partners, and update on information relating to standards, conformity assessment, and related requirements. So we'll be happy to receive some inputs from the members present over here. And we would like to work further to implement harmonized standards and improve global trade. My congrats to Dinesh and his team for bringing out a very, very relevant document worked by two of the partners today. And we would look forward to further discussing with you on how to take it forward across industries and seek their views also to ensure its application across India. So thank you for this opportunity for being there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. I mean, it's been a pleasure working with you since the inception of this project with CII under the various banners like National Standards Conclave, and we'll continue to doing that. You very well highlighted the role of TBTs, standards and trades. As far as report is concerned, yes, I mean, let's, as I said in the morning with Chandan Bhai, let's read it out, let's find out what we can share further. Capacity building initiative regarding all the directives in EU is a very good idea, and I think you are planning a conference, and let's collaborate together to have that exchange of knowledge. With that, let me move to our next speaker, Mr. N. Mohan Ram, who is the Director General TSDSI. As I said, unfortunately, he could not come in person, but it's a recorded presentation. So without any much delay, let's go to the presentation. As I said, bio is part of your booklet. Play the presentation, please.
European Conference on Standards and Emerging Technologies. At the outset, I'd like to express my gratitude to the SESI project for bringing us together. Our focus will cover crucial topics such as circular economy, smart city connectivity, data privacy, and cybersecurity. During my presentation, I'll share insights on TSDSI and its activities relevant to the conference topics. Thank you all for joining us. Our mission at TSDSI is to advance India's telecom and ICT domain to new heights. As an autonomous standards development organization, we are dedicated to creating standards that address India's needs, backed by extensive research and innovation. Collaborating with global bodies, we ensure India's needs are reflected in international telecom and ICT standards. Our role in integrating Indian intellectual property into global standards is crucial. Recognized by the Department of Telecommunications, we stand as India's telecom SDO, operating under principles of openness, fairness, and consensus. Our objectives are to develop, promote, and standardize India-centric telecom and ICT requirements on a global stage, nurturing technology neutrality and offering an equitable platform for all our members. Standards is a collaborative work, and TSDSI plays a crucial role as a platform for India's industry, academia, and startups to collaborate and carry out technical studies and develop standards in a well-defined and structured manner and submit that to TEC for adoption as national standards. TSDSI is an essential enabler for global standards. TSDSA IMs can contribute to 3GPP and 1M2M. Similarly, the standards made in 3GPP and 1M2M are transposed as TSDSA standards. TSDSA can directly contribute to ITU or also route its contributions to ITU via TEC as national contribution. We also have adoption agreements with IEEE and ATSC, so we can adopt the standards as TSDSA standards. I would now like to highlight the joint work between TSDSI, ETSI, and the European Union. We have a cooperation agreement with ETSI to work together on regional and international standardization with the goal of building an interoperable global information infrastructure. We also teamed up with ETSI under the India-EU ICT standardization project to support standardization activities. Our teamwork has led to some centers of excellence like IIIT Hyderabad's Center for Smart Cities and IIIT Delhi's Center for Light Fidelity. We have hosted big meetings and workshops with the Indo-EU project where everyone shared their ideas. It was a big success. We are working with ETSI right now about doing even more together, especially in mobile edge computing. We have just started using some special standards from ETSI about IoT and NFV. These will help NCCS, a wing of DOT, in the preparation of ITSAR, which is basically Telecom Security Assurance Requirements for Telecom Equipment. So basically together with ETSI and the European Union, we are building a world where everyone's technology can talk the same language and work together. TSDSI's technical structure comprises of two core groups focusing on networks and services and solutions. The network study group explores the domains of 6G, 5G advancements, broadcast offload, spectrum studies, open systems, and wireless backhaul. Meanwhile, the Services and Solutions Study Group works on security aspects like machine KYC and post-quantum cryptography, application layers spanning automotive, health, finance, and emerging technologies such as the metaverse and UAV drones. The group also focuses on services architecture and framework definition and development, and areas like rural broadband, edge connectivity, cloud interoperability, and IoT M2M. Additionally, TSDSA drives strategic initiatives including technology roadmap forums, task forces on open source, global standards promotion, engagement with startups and industry, standards-driven research, and certifications. It promotes collaborative workshops and active engagement in organizations like ITU, 3GPP, and 1M2M. So coming to the current technical activities at TSDSI, we have in the area of smart cities and connectivity, TSDSA focuses on various critical aspects such as defining communication needs for the energy sector, exploring intelligent transport system communication standards, integrating communication with sensing at the application level, designing rural broadband services and architectures, and establishing common edge connectivity to support public utility services. In the area of security, privacy, and circular economy, TSDSI focuses on the following key aspects: securing AI ML model transfers in 5G, safeguarding location privacy against authentication relay attacks in 5G, developing security measures for the upcoming 6G network, designing advanced network security architectures for 5G and beyond, and exploring cost-effective data service models in the evolving telecom landscape. We also have TRIP forums which focus on IoT and M2M, quantum communications, and automated electric roadmap transport alongside study groups. Specifically, the IoT M2M TRIP forum is developing white papers, notably on smart cities, agri-tech, and fintech, offering insights into deployment opportunities, challenges, and strategies for pilots, testbeds, field trials, and policy support for concerned ministries. So the reports published cover a broad spectrum of advancements in the field of technology. They cover various domains such as 6G, 5G enhancements, broadcast convergence, applications and verticals, services architecture, and security. These reports focus on cutting-edge technologies, their applications across industries, and crucial security considerations, reflecting the evolving landscape of technology and its impact on various sectors. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, TSDSI team, for organizing it. With that, let's move on to our next speaker, Mr. Girish Sethi, who is a director with the Energy and Resource Institute, popularly known as TERI. Floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Sharma, for having me here for this session. It's really a privilege to be part of this esteemed panel. Let me say that I am working most of the time in the entire career. I think I have mostly worked on the energy theme. And I'll try to limit my comments in the next 4 or 5 minutes of time which is allotted on the role of energy and how this is linked with this theme which is on standards and emerging technologies. In fact, quite a few of the points have been covered in the report which my colleague Shavik had briefly presented in the morning. You have a copy of that. But I would just like to mention that as I was looking at the background note and the papers which Mr. Sharma you had sent, the 3 themes which are being discussed today in the parallel sessions more in detail in the second half today. I could see that energy is all encompassing. It's everywhere, I think. Although it figures in the title in your second theme, which is on smart cities, it says connectivity in smart cities, digitization, energy and transport. It figures as energy there. But if you really look at it, the first theme, which is on circular economy, it's very, it doesn't figure directly, but it is indirectly very closely linked with circularity. On what we are talking, I'll come to that in a minute. And also when it comes to data and cybersecurity, energy is going to be the backbone in all these cities across the country when we are talking about things like the role of renewables as we move forward in the country. India has committed to be a net zero economy by 2070. And by 2030, we are talking about tripling our renewable energy capacities. And at the same time, we are talking about energy intensity reductions by 45% compared to 2005 levels. These are commitments at the top level by the government of India. But as we move forward in this direction, I think the role of digitization will become extremely important, at least in the electricity sector I see. Because very clearly, when we have been used to, ever since the industrial revolution, ever since the boilers were invented, we are used to having electricity 24/7. It's a constant supply. We used to have that. Nuclear plants give you 24/7. But as we are moving towards renewable energy, sun does not shine 24 hours. We'll be able to produce electricity only when the sun is shining, and we'll be able to produce electricity from wind only when the wind is blowing. So the role of having this digitization, the role of the news technologies and how the standards are going to become important. I think we do have a national smart grid mission, but I can just give a small example. I think we were doing as TERI a small project when this whole thing was in the city of Panipat. Just for 3 substations, we wanted to make them fully automated, nationally compliant the way the Japanese grids are there. We collaborated with some of the Japanese partners. But let me say, I think we wanted to complete that in 2.5 years, but it went on for almost 4 years because I think the issues related to the standards and all which we were thinking at that time, that was the early part, those were not really compliant. So even in the issues of the smart metering we are talking about, I think this whole topics, things like demand side management, demand response, all these things are going to become extremely important when we are talking about the new technologies and the integration of energy into the systems in the urban landscape. And just as another related point, I think the key point is that as the demand for electricity and energy increases in urban systems, as we talked about smart cities, I think in the second topic at least, even in the city like Delhi, the peaks are going to become extremely steeper as we move forward. And the variability in the electricity demand between the seasons and in 24 hours, these are going to become steeper, and the role of the standards, the role of having a resilient electricity system will become extremely important in all these aspects. I would also like to mention that all these things are also leading to a situation that we will have the need for manpower in all these fields trained to handle these kind of new things which are coming up, new technologies which are coming up. Government of India did announce the National Green Hydrogen Mission less than a year back. And this one single scheme of the Green Hydrogen Mission which was announced, it's, I would say, a fairly ambitious program of Government of India, talking about $2.4 billion to be spent on promoting green hydrogen through new technologies, new electrolyzer manufacturing, providing incentives for that, pilots, R&D. And these will require, I think, and as per some of the estimates, I think close to 600,000 new jobs are going to be created just by this one single scheme of the Green Hydrogen Mission. We are going to talk about adding another 125 gigawatt of installed capacity in renewable just for the green hydrogen to be produced by whatever is the target, 5 million tons by 2030. Yes, these are steep targets, but all these things related will require a change in the structures in which we are teaching in our academic institutions, in all our IITs, or even at the lower level in terms of the ITIs and the players who are going to have work in this field. And so why I'm saying all this is, I think the point is that it's very important to see that all these technologies and all these new areas, in the case of European Union, whatever I have been reading and seeing, I think they are far ahead in all these areas. Countries like Germany and many of the Scandinavian countries, Nordic countries have made great progress in the adoption of these emerging technologies in the clean energy space. And hence there are numerous opportunities to really cooperate on all these aspects with the EU in these fields. India and EU, luckily, we do have a very established framework around clean energy and climate change. And beyond, I think, existing partnerships with the EU as EU, but also with the bilateral partnerships which we have with many of these countries like Germany or France, Denmark, Sweden. I think all these, there are partnerships in the energy and climate space which can really be utilized for knowledge exchange and moving forward. On the theme of circularity also, I think I would just like to mention that it's very clear, I think, that when we are talking about production of materials, production from recycled materials, that's always, and linking it with the energy domain, production of any material from recycled products is far more energy efficient than producing from the primary sources of energy, whether we are talking about aluminium or we are talking about steel, we are talking about plastics, we are talking about glass, anything, paper, everything which we talk about, if we are making it from a recycled product, it is far more energy efficient as compared to making it from the green virgin raw materials. Just as an example, for example, in case of steel, we are working very closely with the Ministry of Steel, for example. In this, I know they are not a part of this whole thing. But really speaking, if we are producing steel today from primary raw material, it requires close to around 6 to 7 gigacals to produce 1 ton of steel. But if we are making it from recycled scrap material, it is just 1/10 of that. So these are the kind of things where the linkage of, that's what I was saying, these are all linked together from a cross-cutting thread of energy. So finally, I would just like to mention that I think this conference to me is very timely and relevant when we are talking about rapid and responsible economic development in India. TERI, I represent TERI, and TERI as an organization, we are a knowledge-driven organization. We take pride in bringing out several knowledge products, and I think this document which Shavik and the team have, Trinana, they have developed, I'm sure this will be available on the open space in the websites. And as he rightly said, it should be a dynamic document. It can be refined, improved upon. So we do come out with our own knowledge products on a regular basis. Only I was told by my team that day before yesterday or yesterday, TERI did launch a holistic roadmap on plastic waste management, which was in partnership with some of the Australian organizations. We have to credit some of the e-waste handbooks, which provide innovative solutions and way forward in the waste management field. Steel sector, I mentioned earlier, we did develop a roadmap last year. We have a knowledge sharing platform which talks about energy management in small and medium enterprises. So all these products are available on TERI's website. Anybody can have a look at it. But I think the key point is that as we move forward in the development journey of India, we do say that at least in many of the studies do say by the economists that more than 70% of the new infrastructure in India is yet to be built. And if we can make these more resource efficient, I think we are doing a great service to the nation and to the world as a whole. Many of the smart cities, I would say, have adopted intelligent systems, some of them on the traffic management or on smart meters, for example, again on the electricity side. And they are giving great service that way to the commuters as a whole if we are talking about traffic management systems. So finally, I would just like to mention that the collaboration between EU and India, I think EU-India partnership is really historical and special considering that EU is one of the largest trade and investment partners for India, as well as really a source for technology and innovation. And increased collaboration and harmonization on the policies and standard is going to really have a positive economic and social impact in both the regions. And thanks to CESI, I think, for playing such a crucial role and a critical role in taking this whole discussion forward. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, sir, for highlighting the very good work, the energy sector, cross-cutting all across these sectors. With that, let's move to our next speaker, our respected Mr. T.V. Ramachandran. We all know him, doesn't need an introduction. We call him TV. TV, sir. TV, sir, floor is yours.
Thank you, Dinesh. Am I audible? Thank you. I don't wish to take up too much time of yours. Between the two distinguished speakers who are also following after me. So I will start off straight away. Esteemed colleagues of the Indo-European Dialogue, ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very proud and privileged to have this opportunity to participate today in this inaugural session, in this session following the inaugural. The title of this session is Industry and Standards. I don't want to be long. I want to be just brief and finish within 5 minutes. So Dinesh, please pull me out if I take more time. First and foremost, I think it's a given about what industry needs to do with standards. And in the digital economy in India today, if we are today at 1.14 billion mobile customers, connections, it is thanks to standardization. You might ask why. Go back to 1994 when the first license was issued. At that time, the 94 license was issued based on tenders floated in 91-92. In 91-92, 13 countries in Europe sat together to prepare a new digital standard which is interoperable, which will work across all countries. And that was in 1982. They completed it in 1992. 5,000 pages of documentation they put in there, and nobody else had done anything like this anywhere else. Till then it was all about analog standards, and you know all about the tapping of Princess Diana's phone and all that. So GSM came into being from that time in 1992 in Europe. It's only 13 countries, and they did field trials in Europe. It was in that nascent stage, completely nascent, just coming out of the womb. And India had the foresight. Our policymakers sitting in Sanchar Bhavan had the foresight to pick up that standard. Would you do that? No, not established. We've not done enough commercialization, so why should risk it with that? That will be the normal tendency. But we picked up that standard, and today if you have 1.14 billion connections, it is thanks to that. I've had the privilege of being in this right from that time, in 94, and it has been a remarkable success story of what GSM standards have done for India, which is the classic scintillating example of Indo-European collaboration. And that is going forward all the time. There is a lot of harmonization between these two land masses, the subcontinent of India and the continent of Europe. And many other projects in which we are working together, commonality in thinking, philosophy, approach, and we need to leverage on that. We in India are today quite a good way down the digital highway. We are given increasing importance as a digital economy, particularly with what we have done with DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure, UPI, or Aadhaar, our India stacks of 4G, 5G. Architect of that is sitting here, Dr. R.K. Upadhyay. We are doing so many things today which we need to work on more. And from industry, we have seen the benefits of doing that, but I would also like to say that we need to spend more time and energy and resources from industry in this. Today, R&D spending in India, the major chunk is from the government. We need to have a major chunk from industry. We are not pitching in more. We need to do that. What are the areas we need to look at today? We are already doing, as I said, we have got India stack of 4G and 5G. There is a 6G alliance. We are working on 6G. None other than the Prime Minister has launched that vision document, which ITU has taken up. So we are trying to make a good beginning there. And every standard takes at least 10 years. So we have to work hard and committed on that. And that effort has to come equally from government and the industry. Industry cannot be a second passenger. It has to be equal passenger. I would also like to say that today, in the global area, everybody talks of harmonization. We have seen it in India, the benefits of that. And as you all know, India is an extremely price-sensitive market. It's a challenging market for businessmen, entrepreneurs, very price-sensitive. So you need to bring the cost of production as low as possible. And what do you need for that? For that you need harmonized standards. Because today you can't make just for one part of India market or for India market alone. You need to make your products suitable for the global market. So global harmonization has to be an integral part of our work on standards and R&D. Secondly, today, with AI coming on the scene, everybody is realizing the importance of ethical and responsible development and standards for that. In doing all this, I think from the industry, what many people have also a little slight concern or apprehension is, would too much of regulation standards stifle innovation? No, it won't. We have seen that in many countries and in India. You need to strike a very delicate balance between standards, regulation, and innovation. And there, of course, the policymaker and regulator have a vital role to play. These are areas on which we need to concentrate going forward. We need to concentrate on extremely challenging potential products like AI, blockchain, metaverse. We need to be there, and we have to work closely with Europe and other countries. So I would not take too much long. From the industry point of view, I would say that we are very, very confident that standards is the only way to go. You cannot try to be an isolated tower. And we believe that standards are the very lifeblood of today's digital economy, and where strategic development technologies and emerging technologies are concerned. And India is very, very good in taking up new technologies. Even the common man on the street, you can see that. I think probably India was the first country where a mobile phone was there with practically everybody in the streets. Even a rag picker could have a mobile phone here in India. So that sort of thing we have done, made it affordable for a common man. We need to work a lot on the governance aspect of standards, on clean and green technologies, which is again, today's conference is a milestone in our path. The paper which they have come out with covers many of these areas. And I think we have a great way to go forward. I will not take up much more time. I'm not a technical speaker or a content speaker. I'm just here to say that on behalf of the industry, we stand committed to standards in India, and we are confident also. We are not diffident. So all the best to all of you for very interesting sessions and speakers after me, and all the best for the progress of Indo-European dialogue.
I agree for everything, but I don't agree for, you're not a speaker for content or technology, sir. You're a speaker for anything or everything. Thank you very much for taking us to the memory lane, talking about GSM, how this collaboration and cooperation happened way back, which gave a power to the common man, a mobile phone in the hands of common man, talking about AI, blockchain, and role of standards. I mean, if standards would not have been there in case of GSM, economies of scale would not have been there, and we could not have afford. I mean, we still remember the incoming calls for charge. So thank you very much for taking back the memory lane, and thank you very much for highlighting the potentials which we can continue working together. With that, let's move on to our next speaker, respected Shri R.K. Upadhyay ji, who is a Chief Executive Officer with CDOT, which is the Center for Development of Telematics under Department of Telecom and Ministry of Communication. And you have heard from TV Sir, the creator of India Stack is right sitting here. So let's hear from Upadhyay sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, Sharma ji. Leaders on the dais, off the dais, distinguished participants in this conference. I think TV Sir, stressed the need of standards and how the standards, led to democratizing the connectivity, the mobile communication. Like our adopting of GSM, world over, led to scale, and scale led to cost, cost led to affordability, and today in India, I think everybody is having a mobile connection. And the moment the mobile connections were in the hands of the people, it enabled many new applications. Today, Aadhaar, one of the primary connector to the Aadhaar is the mobile phone. So the scheme of Jan Dhan accounts are related to mobile. So similar standards will be required in each part of the technology. I'm not going to talk about anything, all of them, but I was, because there was a talk on smart city in the morning. So I would like to say that what we did in mobile connectivity, same thing need to be done in the IoT and M2M space. Today, IoT market is around $400 billion. By 2026, it will be $700 billion. By 2030, it will be something like $1,500, $1,600 billion. And therefore, IoT is yet to explode, and it will explode in a great way. A lot of standardization effort is happening. For example, ETSI and 1M2M have standardized how the IoT network should come up. 1M2M standard, which is the global standard similar to 3GPP for IoT, has been standardized in our country also. It is the national standard. But what has happened, unfortunately, even though it has been declared national standard, most of the implementation in our country are not happening as per the standard. We are here, for example, in smart city, if you look at the problems being solved on public safety, fire safety, transport, energy, water management, tourism, healthcare, many sectors where to benefit using the smart city infrastructure, but unfortunately because of the proprietary implementation, the scaling up is not happening. What it means, because if you don't follow the standard system, there are entry barriers for newcomers, their cost will go up, the vendor lock-in will happen, and therefore I think we all need to work towards implementation of a standard-based IoT M2M system. I think we are closely working with the Mahua Ministry, and they have also issued the guideline, and now I think at least the ministry has written to the state government, at least the projects which are funded by the center should have it should be based on a 1M2M standard, which is the national standard. We have been working very closely with 1M2M. Just to give the numbers, CDOT's 450 contribution were agreed and implemented into 1M2M standards. This government has also done a lot to promote M2M ecosystem in the country. For example, government came up with M2M provider registration, which is a very light touch licensing regime. You just register, and by paying 5,000 rupees, you become the licensed service provider. And now the tenders will come in a way that only licensed service providers will be able to bid the tenders. TC is working simultaneously. It has come out with the document. DOT has also issued the advisory for security, because security is going to be one of the most important aspect of the IoT network. Even if one rogue element in the system can create havoc for the whole network. Therefore, how do you ensure security? Only by through standards. If you follow the standards, like for example, 1M2M already takes care of the security aspect. So DOT has also issued the advisory for security. Numbering scheme has been announced, 13-digit numbering scheme for IoT devices. In the critical infrastructure, for example, somebody was talking about smart meters, grid operations, the demand and supply balancing. All these work on sensor-based networks. And so just imagine if these networks are compromised, your grid will come to a grinding halt, and you would have read about these kind of problems happening in Texas, in Bombay, and many places where your whole power network was brought down. So security is very, very important. And Government of India, DOT, through its unit NCCS, is also working on ITSAR, Indian Telecom Security Assurance Requirement. They have started with 4 verticals like vehicle tracking, IoT gateway, smart camera, and smart meter. Just giving an example, VVIP movement in Delhi, for example, the cameras are placed, and the camera is tracking where the Prime Minister is sitting in his car, how it is moving. And if this camera is compromised, you will get the complete information of VVIP movement. It's a very dangerous thing. Therefore, all these IoT elements which come into the network need to be standard based, and standards take care of the security. As far as the collaboration with the EU is concerned, we would be very happy. We have been working with ITSI very closely. We would like that these frameworks, we participate very closely through TSDSI and directly also. We would like to be part of this framework development, technology development, and proliferation of this IoT and M2M ecosystem in our country. The second topic I would like to touch upon is the cyber security. You know how cyber security has become very, very important. You have seen that from the perspective of, if for example, your critical infrastructure, power infrastructure, it can be brought down by the rogue elements. So therefore, cyber security is also going to be very, very important. Enterprise alone, the market in India, enterprise alone are spending close to $3 billion per annum. And in spite of that, a lot of attacks are happening. Ransomware attacks, malware attack. Darknet is another big problem for all of us. I mean, we have not done much of research on darknet. So and we have also seen these fraudsters are using nowadays AI and generative AI techniques to not get detected through the algorithms what have been developed. CDOT has been working very closely in the cybersecurity domain. Today, we monitor all the gateways, internet gateways of the country. And just to give you a number, I think it is a mind-boggling number, you will be surprised to hear. In 15 minutes, we get 20 million malicious events. 20 million malicious events in just 15 minutes. So you can see the size of the threat, what we all are having. So we have developed this system, but this is only a system which can tell you there are the malicious event, but it's not a mitigation platform. And we were told by the government to come with the mitigation platform also. So we have come up with a mitigation platform called Trinetra, which not only uses this threat intelligence and provides a mitigation system for the country. It encompasses XDR, CIAM, DLP, SOAR, all kind of thing put into one particular framework. We would be very happy to work with EU in terms of sharing threat intelligence, sharing trusted sources, sharing, I would also like to partner with, we would also like to partner with EU. For example, our system is able to tell that attacks coming from EU countries. And many times these attacks are not necessarily from EU countries, because we have seen a lot of compromised machines which are sitting in some of the EU countries, and from their attacks are generated. They don't trouble that machine, but that machine attacks various other countries. So we would be very happy to share this intelligence with EU. Even country-wise, we can share this analysis, wherein we can pinpoint that the machines in that particular country which is contributing to this. The other thing we would like to work with EU is in the standard for FRMCS, that is the future rail mobile communication system. The standard is being framed. We would like to be part of this task force. And the another wonderful thing which EU is doing about next generation services interface link data. What typically does today all the smart city implementations, if you want to enter, you can't enter. If you want to get the data, you don't get the data. This particular NGSI-LD framework allows APIs to be exposed in a manner that whatever data you want to share with the citizen or other application can be shared very easily. And using those APIs, you can build your application. For example, DPI today, what TV sir mentioned, is what? Basically, it provides you APIs. The infrastructure is there. You just plug on and run the service. Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, all are using APIs, are leveraging this particular DPI infrastructure. So we would be very happy to collaborate with EU in NGS SILD as well as MCS, and sharing the threat intelligence. Whatever our system throws, the threat intelligence can be shared very easily with EU, and if EU has such a similar system, we would be happy to take inputs from there. And thank you for providing this opportunity to talk on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well noted the points about the future railway mobility system and NGSILD. And NGSILD API is already a part of BIS national standard as well, because this was adopted as part of one of the Indian standard when we were framing the IoT reference architecture. Because in the national standard, Bureau of Indian Standard has adopted even the 1M2M common service function after the tax. So as you highlighted that they are becoming a part of this this smart city rollout, but a lot need to be done. It's just they have been endorsed. I'll work with you on these possibilities of cooperations, because I think in the morning it was highlighted that there is a Trade and Technology Council between EU and India, and one of the working group focuses on the ICT subject, like digitalization subjects, including 6G. So we'll work on that. With that, let me invite our keynote address by Mr. G. Narendranath, who is currently the Joint Secretary at National Security Council Secretariat. Please, sir, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for being part of it.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite. I'll touch on all the three different verticals that we've been talking about, and since I come from the National Security Council Secretariat, there'll be some security slant to whatever I speak about. One of the things is, thank you for sharing the report. I've gone through that, and you mentioned that it's a living document, and there are some errors that you would be correcting and all of that. And there are some errors that I had observed. I thought I'll take it up separately with you, and then, that can be done. First thing is about the circular economy. And, we have been talking about how it's good for the economy, and one of the important points that was raised by our colleague is that the amount of energy that is required for, processing is less than compared to what you would do from ore. So that way and just recently, just the COP28 has recently concluded. We have talked of, zero emissions and zero and all of those things. And in that context, the circular economy in that context is also very important. That, for getting what our commitments we're making in COP22, how do you come to the commitments? That is very important. See, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Central Pollution Control Board, they have come up with the e-waste management rules and the battery management rules. And they've also come up with the concept of extended produce responsibility. And that is a work in progress. I think there's been some extension of dates that has happened. And they are working through the labyrinth of the involved process that's involved. Because of, having historical ICT component that is there, and involved in instances involved in that. We always talk about. And going ahead, that is going to really take up in a big way. And if you see, I was just reading one ways that over the next decade, the amount of lithium that will be required for supporting this e-mobility, there will be an increase in 90% over the next decade. For cobalt, around 60%. For nickel, about 40% in the next decade. Now, and you also know regarding the supply chains, and you must be reading about in the papers, that there's a dominance of a particular country in this whole supply chain for these critical minerals. And there are also environmental considerations that are there. You know, some of the materials that we have, they create environmental disasters, and it's important that we control that environmental disasters also. From a security, economic security point of view, how do we get access to these materials? One of them is the circular economy, and then how do we, for the immense amount of lithium batteries that are going in, how do we extract material from that? And also from the ICT materials that are there, how do we extract all those materials that are there? Because when you talk of the solar panels that you talk of, solar energy that you talk, so and then you'll find that over a period of time, there's such a lot of solar panels that will be deployed. And you'll have to, extract all the materials that come from the cadmium and tellurium that are there. And the proliferation of smartphones, the tellurium that is there. And we're also talking of clean energy in terms of, one is the solar and the other is the H2, the hydrogen that we're talking about. And we require catalysts there and the platinum iridium that are required for that. So this is where, from the security point of view and for the economic security point of view, it's important that we work together on this e-waste management. And where is that we have collaboration on this? One is, I think, the technologies for extraction. That's important. It's not that all these technologies are mature. And we do put in place companies that will come and do e-waste extraction processes they put in place. But if the technology is inefficient, you will find that you don't extract the optimum material that you can extract from those, and a lot of that will go back into the landfills. So that's a problem that we'll have. So one of the areas I think we should collaborate is how to maximize the extraction that from all of these materials that we are getting back. So that is one part. I think the R&D for extraction technologies is one part. The other is, traditionally in India, we keep material, equipment for a very long time. We take it to a repair shop and get it repaired. So if I have a mixie in my house, it's been there for the last 20, 25 years. So, whatever problem is there, I'll change a bush or something like that, but we keep it. But many of the new equipment that comes is not repairable. So for example, a mobile phone currently comes with a battery that I can't replace. I think this is one area. Another area, I think, one good thing that the European Union has come up with is that standard charger, so that it reduces the amount of e-waste because of multiple chargers that come out. That's one initiative. Something like that should happen regarding the repairability of products, so that there's some sort of a modular structure, that you have one module that goes out of order. I can plug in another module and get the whole thing working, instead of dumping my whole micro oven or my mobile phone somewhere just because one particular component of it has gone out of order. So that is one part. I think that's where the repairability part of it, and how do you have standards for that, is another important area that we should be working on. The other, I think, then here it requires a lot of, change of mindset in the refurbishing part of it. Refurbished equipment also might not deliver the level of performance that new equipment might deliver. But it would actually work for many situations that are there. And the problem with refurbishment is that the negative connotation that comes in people's mind. That's something that I think we have to work on, to see that people are more acceptable to refurbished equipment, so that you extend the life of that equipment. And then the requirement for all these critical minerals to get more of that should be reduced. One important development that has happened currently is the decoupling of the hardware and software and the open systems that you talk about. Open RAN is one of the concepts there, One good thing that has followed that you can say of that is that if you have the underlying hardware that has a prolonged life, get the new features by working on the software, then you will find that the life of the complete equipment would actually get extended. So that's an important part. the open systems initiative that we are taking place. So this is one part that is good. Then I think here what we have to see is that how do I, when I'm decoupling the hardware and software, and I'm looking at my software actually taking care of the future, feature requirements and all of that. How do I prolong the life of the underlying hardware is one another part that I think we could work on, and that is another area for working. So this is one part of the smart city, circular economy that I wanted to bring forward, because from the NSCS also we are looking at the supply chains and the problems that we have currently in supply chains. How do you attack that? And with some of the like-minded countries, we are working very closely on this aspect. Regarding the smart cities, we've been working on smart cities for quite some time now. I think now is the time for us to just step back and introspect in what is it that we have done up till now. Mr. Upadhyay and Mr. Ramchandran, they pointed out about the standards, interoperability and all of that. One of the things, the 112 emergency number which is there, it's important that we have an integrated emergency response system, because with current multimedia type of data that we collected when any event happens, and then different jurisdictions that are there, it's important that we should have interoperable systems so that I can transfer all the data, whether it's video, audio, or text, or whatever it is that I capture at a particular event, can be transferred to another location, to another 112 system that's across the country. So this is where, and similar things are there. If you want to really leverage the benefits of the huge amount of data that's coming out of the smart city deployments, it has to be interoperable. One good initiative that's happened is from the MOUHA is that the IUDX project that they're doing with IISc Bangalore. I don't know how many of you are aware of the IUDX, Indian Urban Data Exchange. That's to create a common data exchange platform so that across smart city, within a smart city, across the different platforms that are there, you can share the data. And across smart cities also you should be in a position to share data. So that is an important work that is there. I think that is where I think we can work together to see that how do I share the data across all of that. Having a common platform for sharing data is an important part, but now the privacy part of it and the security part of that data is also an important part. So this is where we found that there is one area of work that's required. So from our NSCS, we funded a project along with IISc for taking care of this specifically of the privacy and the security aspects of the data platform. So where they're working on different technologies like secure multi-party compute or secure enclaves and privacy preserving technologies to come up with this technology platform, so that, and then also these consent management frameworks. Especially with the number of data points that are there, and it is required that consent management framework should be fine-grained. That I can, in sense that the multiple data points that I share, I can say that for each of the data points what the top type of privileges or rights that I intend to give to somebody. So it's not consent management in the sense of gross data that I provide and I give it to everybody. I think you should proceed towards a fine-grained consent management that is important, and especially with health records, and then you want to transfer data between different health service providers. This type of fine-grained health management, data management is important. The DTP Act has come, and this is one thing that is written as bill in that, it's already an act. And we don't have a Digital India Act, we have a Digital India Bill. So I just wanted to point that. So this, especially with the DPDP coming along, and then we also have GDPR which is there. I think one of the areas where we can have exchanges, GDPR has been there for quite some time. And DPDP is something that we have to implement in the country now. And this is where an exchange of the type of experience people have had in deploying GDPR compliant systems, both in terms of complying to regulatory requirements and also putting in place, the technological solutions to ensure that that thing happens. That's an important part. So, and this is where, all of this privacy preserving and the consent management, the data protection, all of those things, and then the logging mechanisms and then compliance log to show the logs for all of that would be very important. And this is where I think a lot of standardization activity can happen. Yeah. Mr. Ramchandran had spoken about GSMA, and that's really, a great initiative. And one thing good about the European Union is that the maturity and widely participative standards making activity that happens there. That is the part, the long history of, you see the multiple stakeholders and the variety of stakeholders who participate in the standards making activity there. India has been participating in standards activity, but I think we should be very frank in accepting that our standards participation, that's not to that extent. And there is a talk about how do we increase in participation in standards activity. One of the problems is, there's a lot of expertise in the private sector. There's a lot of expertise even in the academia also. But how do you get them to participate? Because do they see value in participation in standards making activity? Or do they see value in just taking equipment off the shelf and then implementing it? So maybe here there's a case for support, for long-term, consistent participation in standards making. Standards making is not one-off activity that I go to one event and come back and then somebody else goes around the event. No. It takes a few, times that you participate before you understand the bureaucracy that is involved in standards making. There's a lot of bureaucracy. You have to understand how you present it. And unless you understand the bureaucracy, and unless you understand the interpersonal dynamics that exist in standards making, it's very difficult to make any meaningful contribution in it. So it's important that we identify experts both across industry, academy, and the government, and support them over a period of time. And experts would be for different verticals that are there. It's not that have an expert who's across all the technology. So you have to identify experts based on that and support them. And this is where I think the governments will have to play a role in trying to see that how do I get together a fund to support this activity. And this is with these and all of this for, as I use the word again, which Mr. Ramchandran talked of, harmonized international standards. So with these words, I would like to thank again the group here for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. One final point, and this is and secure by design. Yeah, some of you would have heard because people keep on talking about secure by design, but on ground it doesn't happen. A lot of you are leaders here. People, when they sit together and design a system, they put up the requirements for the system, but security is not a fundamental or functional requirement. Let us all, pledge that security is also a functional requirement. And when you design any system and we put out the list of the requirements, put security as also a functional requirement, then I think then we are really, walking the talk of saying we are going to do secure by design. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for putting your valuable thoughts, and I completely concur and agree. Critical raw material, supply chain issues, while talking about resource limitations, especially the lithium. I think in G20 they announced this India, Middle East, Europe corridor. The whole intention behind that IMEC is this, to ensure that there is a supply chain put well in place. Right to repair have started in India. We have a dedicated portal. And secure by design, I completely agree. Consent management will be discussed in our next session. So thank you very much for your valuable comments. With that, I close this session. Please give our dignitaries a round of applause. And again, we continue with our tradition of giving the green certificates. And first of all, I invite Margot Dor to please hand over this e-certificate to our keynote speaker, Mr. G. Narendra Nath ji. Mr. Nath. Thank you. I would also request you to stay back, please, Margot. Margot Dor, stay back. One more. To Mr. Upadhyay, please. Mr. Upadhyay. Can I call Wim? Could you please come? Wim de Kessel. To Mr. T.V. Ramachandran, please. Shashi, please, to Mr. Sethi. With this, we thank you. And Shashi, do you have, please, maybe you can close this session and inform them some rules, because we have to. नहीं सर को देना, विपिन जी को. विपिन जी मैं दूंगा. Please come.
Okay. Now I request Mr. Dinesh Chand Sharma to please hand over the memento to Vipin ji, please. The Executive Director, CI, Institute of Quality. Here you go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we come to the end of this session, the inaugural session, and followed by the panel discussion we just heard. The people, I would like to thank each one of the distinguished speakers. To start with, Shri G. Narendranath ji. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for taking our time. I know it's a busy schedule for you, and to be here with us. Thank you so much, sir. Give him a big hand to all the panelists, please. Shri R.K. Upadhyay ji, sir, evergreen always. You speak fantastic. I've been hearing, and you've been coming regularly for that. Now the CDOT has changed after you taking over. That's a witness, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. To my Guruji, T.V. Ramchandran, whom I consider as my Guruji. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The words are not enough to thank you, so thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Vipin Saini, sir. Thank you very much for taking our time and be with us, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Girish Sethi. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. And thanks to all the distinguished delegates and the other speakers who are there have joined. We have joined CIO Passport. Mr. Golak is already here, who will be talking about the data and the protection and things like that. Sir Golakji, thank you very much for taking our time here, and he'll be joining the after lunch panel session. Now we break for a quick lunch session, although we know that we are running. You want to say something?
Yeah, just.
Yeah. So we'll have a half an hour break. I know it's too short. So please cook as much as possible. The lunch is ready. Join us back as much as possible. And the panelist sessions, the board is outside. Please go through whichever session you want to join. Accordingly, you have to join those sessions. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Hope who will be participating virtually. Please take your fast lunch and come back. We have a data privacy session is kept in this